Just got here to Venice Beach for some shark-toothing. And just the annoyance of driving here, man. All that stuff was it's a mess, but it was neatly packed. And of course, I had to stop short for some fucking idiot. And now it's a legitimate mess, not just an overstuffed mess. But anyway, I get out of the car at the parking spot. There's these sandals right there. And I don't have a good pair. Like, these aren't, you can't really bring these to the beach. They're just not that. But those are, and they fit me perfectly. And I don't think this guy came out of the bathroom when I was just pulling in. And I think he had his flip-flops on. So those are gonna become mine. Because the last guy just probably forgot them. So. Because they're exactly what I need. There's an airport right there. Those are just perfect. See, this guy's been shark-toothing or something. That's a little hardcore. Any Megs?
I wasn't looking for
Ah.
I'm looking for road.
So walking down the road here, that used to be a road. Kind of ends right there now. Washed out by the last hurricane. There was a barricade. I guess I should have got that to kind of fill in the whole story. But this is cool because it leaves a whole stretch of beach way down here that the majority of people are too lazy to walk to. So it's very nice. Beautiful day though. Looks like I might be able to go in the water for a little bit here. We'll try and jump in there, do some snorkeling. Park closed. It's funny because when I put in Casperson Beach on the GPS, it says directions unavailable because the road closed. Just because the road closed right up there. And I'm just like, it took me a while to put it together that, oh, I should just put in Sharky's, which is the restaurant. But that's crazy. A, it's somewhat impressive that it's that accurate and they know about that and incorporate it, but B, that they just can't make an adjustment knowing that if they know that much, that there's a parking lot right there, technically where I guess Casperson Beach begins. So I'm just kind of surprised they don't like maybe just end it right there and give you the directions. But yeah, this used to be pavement. You could not see that. There's a little inlet there. You know, you'd be driving. I think the road was more over here too. Maybe it's right where I'm at, but that was, you thought that could have gone on for hundreds of yards. I didn't realize there was water that close. And I've been coming here a long time. But right where this juts out, that the road would go around there, and there's a big parking lots down there. And they're still there. There's like a beach thing. I'll guess I'll take some shots of that as well. But once you hit down by this jetty, very few people go that extra distance. So you kind of have that to yourself. There'll be people there. There won't be no people, but for the most part, nobody goes that extra. Kind of like when you're in a national park and whatever little stop you make at the Grand Canyon or something, you go more than 250 feet, you got it to yourself. Which is nice. I kind of like that people are like that. Be remiss if I did not highlight this. Sea turtle nest. All sorts of information there. They've got their little system. See, it's the same on each one. 926S34. I don't know if there's a date on that. But those are the people you need. If I lived here, I'd be involved, no doubt. You come down every morning before people get here, and there's probably a clear path to the ocean or a mound or something. The lone tree. But that's it, man. Between this ocean and the water that's right back there, it's all the same as far as you're finding shark's teeth right there. You're gonna find them in here. Right under my feet at some point will be the beach. Yeah, I don't know about going in the water. Just I like to snorkel along the edge, but it really needs to be calm, and it's fairly calm, but the water doesn't look like it's clear. But we'll investigate. Not too far a walk. You can see there's a sewer there that was in the road, obviously. So it's just gone. But the water doesn't, I'm gonna go in there and see if I can snorkel in there. Between these jetties was always a good spot. I'd go from, just right along the very edge. It'll be tough because you just can't stay in one spot with that. There's a swell in there. But we'll give it a shot, and then I'll go down here. But you see these rocks over here. The parking lot's behind that. That parking lot's still there, but there used to be a road and then a bunch of like man-made walkways and stuff and showers, and that's all gone. All right, there's the facilities. Wonder if they'll keep them going. Full bathrooms and stuff. They had showers there. Looks like they took the shower head down, I guess. We'll walk closer and find out, I guess. But not while I am filming. I may film again when I get there. But this here was all a parking lot. But all that tar, it was dirt. So that must be the road. They just piled it all there. And you actually drove right here. This was kind of, you went around this way. And there was like a center down the middle where those trees are. And you park in there, and then I think it was just that way. And then on the other side, you had both towards the woods and in towards the center. Then there's a road there that would cut back into there, and there was a whole walking area back there in a big circle. And gopher tortoise. But yeah, hopefully they just leave it alone. No, that wasn't a bad walk at all. Coming down here, and thins out the crowd. But the inevitability of basically, this is kind of a peninsula we're on, the ocean's on this side, the Gulf of America, and over here is back in there. This is actually an island, it's Venice, technically. It's kind of there's a canal that cuts through there that they dug out, so it does make it an island, but that's kind of a cheesy definition of an island. But that's the present state of affairs. Pretty good day. I've been in the water all day. It's clear, a lot of swell, but you're able to, it's worth it. I love just throwing on the flippers and the mask and floating along. Let Mother Nature assist. head down here a little bit. Clearly kind of closed off, but let's see. The road used to come right through here. That was a good parking space right along the edge here. That was all thick, so there was only like 4 or 5 parking spots you could back into, but you'd have total shade, which is what it's all about in Florida. And that goes back there. That's probably all in fairly decent shape, but getting there. But there goes the county guy. He's just flying along. There's right where that cone was. There used to be a shower to wash off. So this used to be just packed with people. In fact, this was all, I believe, this wasn't beach before. I think this was all kind of overgrown somewhat, and the beach didn't really start till down there. But that's nice, but next hurricane, major hurricane that hits, it'll be different. Long day in Venice, which was nice. That's as beachy as you can get right there, huh? Here's the old road. Pretty much ends right up there at that tree you can see on the right there. There's the airport. There they got this. Hopefully they just keep it like this. This is fine. You know, there's a beautiful section of beach down there that the majority of the population is too lazy to walk to, which I love. That's it right there. I mean, the planes at this place all day, they must have classes obviously or something. People just taking off and landing. But going out over the water, turning around, coming right back. But that looks pretty permanent. I'm all right with that. South Brohard Park. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Alright, this is the hall from the first jetty where I went in yesterday. And my deal is if I come across glass while I pick it up, because it could be your foot. So anybody who, if you do shark-toothing and you're going through your little fracking device, which is what I call those scoopers and the sifters, and you throw the glass back down, you're a scumbag. And that's, I don't have any hesitation in thinking or saying that. If you have glass, fine glass, pick it up and put it in a trash can. I know it's everywhere, and it's not as prevalent in the water, but like there are places up top, like I'm not talking around like the trash can, you know, where it is literally everywhere. You can only do so much. But if you're in the water, on the water's edge, and there's glass, pick it up, put it in a trash can. You don't, you're a fucking scumbag. And that has to be said. You're that type of person. I need to let you know that. But these, I love these, I call these like poop rocks. Because it's kind of like and I don't know what the hell they are. They seem like they're something. They could be nothing. You know, just some sort of rock. Like, I don't know if it's actually a part of like a bone or something. I don't know. You see a lot of them. It's funny because a lot of these rocks, I like just smooth rocks. You know, I always had the idea back at my house to just make like beds of similar rocks, you know. I did a little bit right before I left. I put down right under the eave because I had no gutter, you know, for the rain. And I really didn't ever get to see how that turned out because I had bags of these rocks I'd collected and I never got around to it. And at the end, I just dumped them right under the eave. Seemed like a good idea. And it's funny though, because a lot of them, they look a lot nicer when they're wet and you're picking them up underwater than you dry out, and it's just kind of a unglamorous rock. This seemed like something yesterday, like part of a, like I saw this, and when it's all wet and shiny, it's like, wow, is that like a part of a turtle shell or fossilized turtle shell? I knew it wasn't a real, like, recent turtle shell, but it appears to be nothing except an interesting rock. And then there was this. I found this in the jetty. I love fucking random stuff like this. I'll hang on to that. Those become like a little mascot. Got a tail. So nothing too great really. But it was fun. I came out of that first little section around that jetty satisfied. Seems a little less so now. I thought I had more than that. And when I do find glass, there's a difference. Like a piece of glass like this, I'll probably keep when it's all, this has been in there a while. Get the Anheuser-Busch symbol there, I believe. Yeah. Where it's all frosted, you know. Whereas this, I just put in the trash. That's just like new glass. There's sea glass, and then there's new glass. All right, cleaned it up. Threw a couple away. But I'll keep most of these, and I get like jars, like Peter Pan peanut butter jars and stuff that I put these in. But like this is interesting just to see. That's just mainly the gum. I can't even see my finger here because of the shadow. Yeah. But that's just interesting to see. It's a gum. You know, a lot of these are worn down, obviously. Not too many good ones. Ultimately, that's a very cool tooth there. Kind of see it a little, occasionally there's a slight brownness to them. Yeah, I thought I had done better. You know, it's not nothing. It's funny how they all look bigger though. Like as I was swimming along, I'm just thinking about how I would describe them to people. I'm like, it'd be about the diameter of a quarter, you know, touching the 3, not really. More nickels. That one maybe a quarter. That's a good one, pretty good one. These are a couple good ones, these 3. That one. But still enjoyable. Good workout too. I was doing the snorkeling. It was a good swell. And we're talking, you go down and you gotta, the thing about the jetty is you can hold on to the rocks when you're down there. I forgot my weight belt in my car because I hadn't been in a while. Usually I wear the weight belt so I can stay down there. Otherwise you go down, you start floating right up. But it's a good workout, man. You know, up and then take a breath and right back down. And a lot of times if you see a tooth, especially when there's a swell, sometimes you'll be floating up and you'll see the tooth or something. You can't take your eye off it. Literally that spot, even though you might be 10 feet down or at the top, it's 10 feet down. You need to keep your eye on that because you'll never find it again. I had a couple of those, and you got to take a breath and go right back down and grab that tooth. So it's a good workout. I look at it like that as well, you know. And this is from the second jetty plus like the rest of the day. It went up top a little bit, and up top I mean like off the ocean on the peninsula up in the sand. And then just walking along the shore. Yeah, not as many, definitely a couple more. Those are maybe quarter size, you know, you put them on a quarter. I don't have one right now, so I'm not gonna do that. Or try and find one. A few pieces of glass that I'll keep. You just put them in a jar, you know, you get a lot of different colors. It can be kind of cool. Tooth or rock? It's a good question. I think I'm gonna go with rock. This would have been a great tooth right here. Brown, you know, the reddish brown. Still a pretty cool tooth. Right there, that's a nice one. A little chip in it, but you know, some cool ones. This one here still got some serrations. There's some of the serrated edge on it. And that's it. There's pile of glass. Took it out of there. Again, if you come across glass and you're one of those sifters right on the water, in the water, and you put it back in, you're a dick. And no hesitation and no doubt about that assessment. Put it in a trash can.